Welcome, everybody. I'm Rodney.
I'm Candace.
And we are what, Candace?
Cohort
1986. Well, today we do have a very special guest.
We do. One of my fellow Gamecocks.
One of my fellow family members.
Okay. Right.
But
we'll
he is his name is Carl Vann.
Yeah.
He's originally from Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Lives in Columbia.
Yeah.
He's a father, husband, serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And a self-proclaimed grill master, which I don't believe.
Yeah, that's a hard one, but we're gonna have to ask him about
that too. Yeah, because I'm not believing that. And then, and more importantly, he's the founder and visionary behind the Pastor Peaz platform. So everybody, give a warm welcome to Mr. Carl Vann.
Welcome.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, man. Happy to be here.
Man, appreciate you, man. We appreciate you, man. Candace, you did have some questions for him, right?
Yeah, I do.
In the rapid form.
I do have a couple of questions. This last one is probably going to be very special, especially since we were talking about Pastor Peaz. So the first question that I have for you is, what is your favorite vacation spot?
Favorite vacation spot? That's tough, man. I haven't been taking vacations no more, man. But I would say Asheville. It's so quiet, like going to the mountains, walking the waterfalls. And it's kind of like romantic. It's just like it's different from going to the beach because there's so many people crowd the beach.
Right.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, that's one thing we haven't done in Asheville is go to the waterfalls.
We've done everything else.
Yeah, I like Asheville too. I mean, it just kind of clears your mind, and like food is good. You know, like
it's a different feeling atmosphere.
Yeah. I would agree with that. So my next question for you is, what is your favorite genre of music?
Hip hop all day.
Hip hop. Okay. All right. Okay. I could see that one with you and Ronnie being cousins, because Ronnie is like a big music lover.
Oh man, hip hop and R&B all day.
Yeah.
And I pretty much listen to everything. So
okay, Cap.
I do. I am very diverse in my music.
So your diversity is Pastor Troy.
Wait.
Some J. Cole. And some Kendrick Lamar, maybe a little bit.
We got Beyonce,
but it ain't ratchet enough for you.
We got Ed Sheridan. I mean, we got all these different people.
Okay.
Anyway.
So we staying at the Ed Sheridan Hotel?
Listen, whatever. You know what? Mind your business, okay? I listen to everything, everyone. So if you guys would love to send me any musical requests or things that I could listen to, I am open. So anyway, Rodney. So my last question for you, Carl, is pancakes or waffles?
Waffles. I'm a texture person. Like, I feel like pancakes, I mean, you can get them fluffy, but I like the texture of a waffle much better.
I can. Man, look, man, I'm gonna say this: ain't nothing like a pancake that the sides are like it's fluffy in the middle, but those sides be crispy with the butter.
Yeah,
man,
they good, man. But a waffle is.
Yeah, ain't nothing like a good Belgian waffle, though.
Thank you. And I made some great ones, bro.
Belgian waffle. Okay, all right.
Well, I gotta
have to hold into that one.
Well, it's a special episode. I gotta rapid fire today.
Oh.
Okay.
What is your favorite family dish?
Oh man, that's hard. But I'm gonna say okra prelo. Man, I know her put her foot in that every single time, man.
She does. She does. So
tell the people, what is that?
Okay, so you familiar with what a perlo rice is? It's usually a one pot dish. And that particular one, you're gonna get your rice, you're gonna get your okra, and then you're gonna get some Rogerwood sausage. That's how we roll.
Okay.
You're gonna get bacon and shrimp in that bad boy, and it is delicious.
So that kind of sounds like okra soup. Is that two different?
No. It's not a gumbo at all. It's
not a gumbo.
Oh,
the prelo is different. It's really different.
Okay.
It's different. I miss eating it because I got allergic reaction to shrimp.
Yeah.
In my adulthood, I hate it. But man, my grandma used to cook that too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Telling you, man.
Fire.
I'm gonna have to get some of that when I go back down to Charleston.
Hey, put your order in. Put your order in.
Okay.
She will listen. You tell her you coming down. She have a pot ready for you.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna do that for her and watch her eat it because I can't eat none of the shrimp. I mean, so of course you're from Charleston.
Yeah.
So kind of tell us a little more about you.
Yeah.
Okay. So born and raised downtown Charleston, so I can actually say I'm from Charleston.
A lot of people can't say that.
Yeah, I know people be claiming it from Goose Creek and whatnot. So I ain't judging them. I mean,
we ain't judging.
Greater Charleston area. You know, but kind of in the hood area. I saw a lot growing up, but my mom and them tried to keep me sheltered from it all. Yeah. My grandfather was heavy in the church. So I was in church every Sunday. I was in everything that you could do. I was an acolyte. I was in a YPDer. Yeah, man. All the youth choir, all of that stuff.
School,
and they tried to put me in, and they tried to make me a pastor. I said, no.
Like, you're going too far, a little too far.
Let me just attend. Like, y'all don't want me leading. That's not my calling. So, but I can be a good follower in here. But yeah, so my grandfather started me with that stuff very early. And it, it kind of shaped me. And I mean, in Charleston, that's the Bible Belt. That's in the Bible Belt. And my church is the second oldest church, sister church to the Emmanuel. So everybody was Emmanuel now. So yeah, I mean, I would say like I had a great upbringing. The one thing that's funny, man, being in Charleston, I didn't know how special Charleston was while I was there.
Wow.
Did you know? Did you know, Rodney?
No, I didn't realize that until I had to go away and go to college. Yeah. For people to be like, oh man, you from Charleston? That is so. I'm like, regular Charleston? Regular Charleston? And everybody was just like once you learn the history and everything behind it and how different, even I'm gonna just say even the black people are down there from the rest of the state. We're just totally different and unique.
Yeah. Man, I real serious. I actually used to be at Philip Simmons' house in his backyard.
Wow.
Didn't know that he was that much of a legend, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, I would pass by there and be like, hey man, how you doing today? Like, he knew me. And I mean, it's crazy. Like, when I would meet people and they were like, oh yeah, I just want to go and look at the ironwork on the gates around town. I was like, oh, you want to see Philip Simmons stuff? Yeah, I can show you. And I'm like showing them around, showing them all of his different gates. And it's crazy to me. Like, I didn't realize how special that was or how big of a piece of history that was. So, I mean, growing up down there, I think like I took it for granted. And then now as an older guy, I'm like, man, we got something special down there. Yeah. And,
man, I just, when I was young, I wanted to get away so bad.
Yep.
And you just realize like, man, I could see me like, and in 30 years when I'm in my 50s and 30 years in my 60s. I had to think about that. 60s, early 70s, whatever. Like, I could see me just going back down there and just living. Like you still feel kind of the call of home sometimes.
Yeah. Nah, it's definitely there, man. I definitely feel it. Charleston is now my muse. So that makes it even that much more special for me. Because it's source of inspiration. So
I have to ask, we're talking about Charleston, we're talking about growing up. What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Rich. I agree. Really though, like actually that's the sad part. Like, I actually have this written down. Like, when you write that down in school and they ask you that, I actually put rich on it. Like, I didn't know what I wanted to be. And that was a struggle for me. Like, going through college, I remember when they brought some people to school, and you do that whole shadowing people and stuff. Yeah. In high school, and I was like, well, which one makes money? Like, so they told me computers. I said, okay, cool. What I got to do? I'm good at computers. Yeah. It's such a broad spectrum of things you can do with computers, right? I mean, so I had no clue really what I was doing when I enrolled at USC in engineering, and I don't have an engineering degree, but that's a whole other story.
It happens.
Yeah, man, it happens. It happened. So, but Rich.
Why? Hey, look, man, I'm so hurt.
Oh, don't do this.
I'm so
today.
hurt. I'm
you
so
got
hurt.
2 Gamecocks on the phone today.
I'm so hurt. Why USC? I mean, you're not the only cousin that went there. Obviously, I'm the oddball of the group. I'm the smart one. So why USC?
I got into Clemson. I just ain't want to go there. Like I went. So my homeboy was touring, different schools, and I went with him, and I saw Clemson, and I was like, oh no way, I am not going there. Like you must not have visited because I visited.
I did visit.
You still went.
I'm gonna say this: when I went there, it was a group of people that kind of gave me like the welcoming feel, and I was sold. So it might have been just a different experience on that visit.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you came with my visit to University of South Carolina, you would have been the game. The very first time I stepped foot on this campus was our cousin Bernard took me in, and guess what weekend it was? It was Kappa Fest, and I had a blast. I didn't even know that college had classes in it. I just said,
what are those?
Kappa. That's all I knew. I hadn't declared my major yet, but I declared that I was going to be a Kappa by the time I left school.
By any means necessary.
Yeah, by any means necessary. And sure enough, I figured the rest out later.
So what did you end up getting your degree in?
English, language and literature. Yep.
So how did you settle on English?
Man, I was always a good writer. I've been published before I even got to college.
Wow.
It was just my thing. I've written books I just hadn't published. I just like to write. I still have a love for film, and I spend a lot of time actually writing scripts. I just haven't made. I actually want to get back to trying to film things once I've completed everything I need to here with my current business. But yeah, writing is really my passion. I'm a nerd. I like to read. Like Jessica teaches me because when me and her first met, like she was like, "Are you really just reading for pleasure?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's what I." The kids take a lot of that time from me now, but
yeah,
my thing.
Gotcha, man. That's so dope.
Got
so
books, scripts,
that's what I'm So I mean, just kind of you just saying books, film, scripts. Mm-hmm. So have you always kind of had that entrepreneurial spirit about yourself?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if you noticed or not, man, but in high school, so it was illegal, so hopefully they don't lock me up. But I was the CD man. Like everybody knew I was that guy, right? Mm-hmm. I said to my mom, I said, "Hey, let me get a computer and I'll pay you back." And she was like, "How you gonna pay me back?" So I got that. I got a 4-speed burner, flipped that, got a 16, flipped that to a 32, upgraded computers, and then bought a 10-disc changer. And before I knew it, I had every barbershop within my radius of traveling buying CDs, DVDs, and video games off me.
Wow.
I was selling Dreamcast games. I was selling DVDs, PlayStation 2 games. That was a little more.
Yeah. I know people were doing CDs.
No. We was doing games.
Oh, wow.
We was doing games. If you met the right person, you get a game.
Wow.
Yeah. I had the games, and I used to put my little ghost files on them so nobody could replicate it. So I had to game them a lot. And I mean, I had people from James Island High School, Academic Magnet, and Bishop England coming down to me, making their little weekly orders so they could sell at their school. And I would just charge them like a wholesaler fee, and then they can go ahead and do it.
So
yeah.
I have to ask you, how did you come up with these business plans and strategies, right? So we're even talking back in high school, if you just kind of coming up with this business and this strategy about, okay, how am I going to wholesale this to this person and how much can they sell it for? So
it's numbers. It's numbers. Knowing your numbers and you want to make money. But in truth, I mean, looking back on, hindsight brings things. It's out of scarcity, right? I didn't grow up rich, and so I was like, man, my mama can't do this, and I want some Fat Farm, you know. So I was like, I'm about to go get this. She ain't gonna buy me no J's. Let me go do this. And I mean, I figured it was better than the alternative that some people like, right? So and I mean, we are resilient people from Charleston. I mean, used to making a something magnificent out of very little. All of the things that we love now are something from the scraps of our masters and stuff like that, right? It's the same thing. I was just like, hey man, I'm handed this situation. I'm gonna figure out a way to go get it. So that's how I got to it. I just sat down with a pen and a paper and was like, this is how much money I want to make, and this is how much they probably can pay as students. So this and that's I had enough money to buy me a car cash, like under my bed, like for real. I had like 15 grand sitting under my bed, right? And I went to my mom and I said, hey, please let me buy a car. She was like, I ain't putting you on my insurance. I was like, I can pay for it. So I was ready. You think I ain't researched this? I was like, I know how much insurance costs.
I got this. Funny story. I used to go over every Sunday. We used to go over to play video games and watch sports. I remember dudes used to come to the house to buy CDs. He's like, hold on one second, we'll pause the game right quick. Let me go to bed. I was like, man, that is so cool.
But I mean, I will say, Carl, that is just absolutely amazing, because it's like sometimes we don't even recognize what we have that's within us, right? And so this is something that's always been within you. You've always been able to identify your audience. You've always kind of thought about, what is it that people want, right? So I didn't even know people had games. I knew about the CDs, but even thinking about like the games and just kind of having that forethought, it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah,
man, that is.
You know what though? I mean, I was watching that Kevin Hart and Jay-Z thing, and he said, "Hey, I just do stuff that like makes sense to what I do. I listen, I play video games, so it's kind of like I'm gonna just sell the stuff that I already, enjoy myself." Like I wasn't like reaching, you know what I mean? It was kind of like something already in my pocket, and I mean, if I'm not the only person that like those things,
right.
So, kind of just moving forward, like, what was your journey after USC? Like, how did you kind of find your footing?
Oh man, you want to know something about? You give a black dude a degree, and you tell him that he can go get a job. I felt like I could do anything when I walked out of University of South Carolina. Tell me I couldn't do anything. And I say this, I knew from the start, I never really wanted to work for anybody. Like I was just like, I'm not working for nobody. I'll do it temporarily, but the whole time I'd be at work thinking about business ideas and things like that. Right. And for a little while, I was kind of missing the mark because I would excel, but like I wasn't trying to go for positions. Like I would have a manager say to me like, "Oh, I want to put you up for this." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good," because I was like, "That's more responsibility. I want to do my own projects and this and that." And that was to my detriment in some regards. And so, like in the beginning, I started off hot and I lost my footing for a little bit, and I found my way again. And I would say, I found that balance, and I started really appreciating the job positions I was in, and then learning from them. I was like, I'm learning structure, and I'm learning how to organize, manage projects, and I'm taking those skills and transferring them. So I would say the journey was like up and down. Like I was really confident, young, energetic, got beat up a little bit, had to get humbled, and then. Now I'm the man I am today, and I kind of, I just approach everything with a different appreciation and going through it with a mindset to learn.
Yeah. And that's a really good point, Carl, that you just kind of brought up about, recognizing where you are and where you want to go. Right. So those two things don't always align perfectly, but, taking those transferable skills and applying them in different ways. So I think that's a very valuable lesson that people can learn.
Man, that I'm just that resonated so much. Just kind of you dream so big that you kind of overlook what's happening now.
Yeah,
that happened to me a lot too. Just kind of with coming out like, well, I plan on doing this, but maybe you kind of taking that next step is helping you get to that point.
Right.
Yeah. And so like, that's something that just kind of stuck with me. What you said.
For sure.
Yeah, man. I think if I could tell that to my younger self, I was always impatient. I felt like I just got to get to it. Like you can see the big picture, but like nobody knows the steps in between. They just think that they're supposed to go from point A to point Z so quickly. And that's what 39 years will get you, some little bit of wisdom.
A little bit, okay.
A little bit.
It's so funny. I was talking to my grandmother earlier today, and we were just kind of talking about people's future. And we were just talking about it from the standpoint of sometimes we can't see where we're going, but God always knows where we're going to end up. So while we're down here, we're trying to figure it out, like, oh man, I'm in the trenches right now, but we don't see the other side of things. So I think there is definitely a lesson in just kind of understanding where you are now, and just kind of making peace with where you are while you're on your journey to get where you want to go. So,
and I like a lot of things to food because I'm just all into food, right? And I asked my wife's little cousin. He's smart kid, man, real smart kid, very impatient, and remind me so much of myself. And so I asked him, I was like, hey, man, what's your favorite food? And so it was some dish from Red Lobster. But I was just like, how long does that take to cook? And then I asked him about, fast food. And I compared it to him. I was like, none of the stuff in there is close to your favorite. But you just get it to kind of appease the moment, right? I said, all the stuff that you really like and you savor and you truly enjoy, those things take time. Those things takes time to cook. And so, my favorite meal in particular takes 2 to 3 hours to make. You know what I'm saying? So you got to sit with that. You got to be, just understand that the things that you really want is going to be good, feed your soul, they take time.
Ooh, somebody gonna have to rewind that back. Okay,
that's the word right there, man.
Rewind.
That's the word right there, man.
If you don't listen to nothing else that was said during this podcast today,
watch it. You gotta let that marinate. You gotta let that marinate, pun intended.
Yeah.
We are dry aging that one, okay?
Speaking of marinating, just kind of talk about what is Pastor Peaz and just how did you come up with the concept of it? Yeah.
Oh man, so the inspiration for Pastor Peaz is our family member. So they say our ancestors always talk to us, and mine, man, grandmama came to me in a dream, bro. Like, and it's a recurring dream. That's crazy. I kept having this dream where I'm asleep. I wake up to the smell of her biscuits. I literally go downstairs, and she's not there. The lights are off, and every single time, man, it wakes me up, and I'm crying. And so the last time that I had a dream, I wake up, Jessica, I'm crying so hard. It felt real, bro. It really felt real. It was crazy. And it was almost like she had just passed. And I remember Jessica was just like, well, nobody don't know how to make the biscuits. And I was just like, no. I was like, Annette done tried like 100 million times. And she kept getting frustrated. So long story short, man, I was just like, man, there's got to be a way for us to like not have that happen again. So I just started getting in the kitchen, and I hit up Annette, my mama, Aunt Nora, Aunt Marie, and then I started reaching out to friends too. And I was just like, let me record y'all in the kitchen. And I kind of wanted to validate that this was a need. And so, man, I actually had some stories from some of my friends that were like bringing me to tears because they were just talking like my friend's father, man, he had me choked up because he was talking about how his mother passed down her cast iron pan. They just wanted him to be kind of carry that torch and still have the Sunday meals and still cook for the family and bring everybody together. And I was just like, man, food is so deep. It's how we, that's how we commune. That's how we fellowship. And so, it was definitely at that point, once I interviewed everybody and I talked to Jessica about it, I was like, this gonna happen. Pastor Peaz.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. And when you started talking about biscuits, the first thing I thought about was my grandmother. My grandmother cooks biscuits. She's got the buttermilk, she has all these ingredients out, just kind of cooking, and so much. It's just a labor of love, right? So, we show our love in different ways, but, through food and through passing down those recipes, because I know her great grandmother taught her how to keep biscuits and just kind of keeping those traditions going. Now, one thing that I think your your company will definitely do is help me learn how to make gravy. I still, me making brown gravy is not a thing.
Yeah.
My grandmother has, I have watched her do it. I have tried to do it in her presence. It's just not working out for me.
It does take time. It does take time. I'm gonna tell you truthfully now. My mama cheats. My mom is jealous that I can make gravy better than her.
See,
like she actually cheats and she puts kitchen bouquet in hers. I was like, ooh. I was like, you cheating? I was like, yeah, that ain't real.
Look, I'm kitchen bouquet every day. I do something a little bit edible, because when I try to make it, it don't come out right. We got the same problem in this house. I'll buy me a little gravy pack.
Listen, don't be giving out all our gravy secrets. We just saying we don't know how.
I'm not hating. I'll show you, man. I'll show you. I've been trying to invite you to my master class for a while, Rodney, but you keep avoiding me. Keep trying to tell him. Now I know you need me to come holler at you about this gravy.
Yeah, definitely about the gravy.
Come on, don't teach me the gravy. About the gravy. I had the camera out filming. Like, this is like the gravy right here.
So talk to us a little bit. Like, how does the process work? Like, how do people sign up? Like, what does it look like?
Well, let me at least take a step back and kind of tell them, because we kind of gave an overarching what my inspiration is, but so Pastor Peaz is really going to be really unique. It's going to be the only recipe app that allows you to, one, upload your recipes. Two, you compare that with video guided recipes of your loved ones actually making those, right? Wow. So you don't have to do a video if it's cumbersome for you, but it's an option. And then also you can tell the stories behind those recipes. So with each recipe, if you want to say, hey, grandma, how'd you come up with this? You can record that and have that in there because you want to pass that down, right? Yeah. And then the other aspect is you can build collaborative cookbooks. So now you can create a shared cookbook for all your family to be able to access those recipes. So yes, Rodney, you will have access to Aunt Nora's okra prelo and Aunt Marie's macaroni and cheese. And my grill master recipes in there too. You know what I'm saying?
He gonna have his world famous boiled ribs in there.
Oh no, who boiled the ribs?
Hey man, I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with
you. And so you just said, so people will be they'll be able to upload the recipes and also like do videos. So it's a kind of like video clips or how long are the videos that people can upload?
Each video clip, right now, I'm limited it to a minute. I'm kind of testing the waters with it. I want to see what people feel is feasible. Through all my tests, I can generally do just about any step in a minute. Depending on how you break it down. So, but yeah, I think depending on the feedback that we get, I'm 55 versions in. So we've done a lot of tests, right?
Yeah,
based on the feedback that I've gotten, a minute has been sufficient so far, but we're going to see once I publish it to the masses. And right now we're in what we call a test flight phase. And now in the review process for Apple and Android's going to go a little bit quicker. So we just the timing where when Apple's going to go ahead and push it out, Android takes like 48 hours. So they're pretty quick. Apple, they thorough. They want to make sure
they're thorough, very thorough. So just kind of a question. So just introducing the app and everything, how has kind of the family taken it? Your family kind of taken doing the app. I know you probably went to Aunt Nora and everybody else just to kind of with the recipe. So how has that been?
Man, it's been good. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me is, I still haven't got to get in the kitchen with everybody as much as I want to yet. It seems like every time, like it's funny with Aunt Marie, that's the one that's been the toughest because like she had something going on, and then the next time I wanted to do it with her and Nard, and he had something going on, so that was a conflict of interest. But it's been good. I mean, everybody's been receptive to it. Everybody's excited about it. They don't feel like they're giving anything away. But the cool thing about this app is, man, they do not have to give it away. So when you create a recipe, just like Facebook, you can have a friend, you can have a close friend, limited access. So when you create a recipe, you can make it open to the public, or you can keep it just in the family.
Wow,
your family. So
that's dope. That is so dope.
We know everybody don't deserve to have our recipes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, when
you can't open a cookbook to everybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that's even cool, like that it's like a social network, right? Where I can just add different people. That's really cool. I'm excited about this.
Right. Yeah.
Very excited.
Man, I look, man, I can't wait to get down to my grandma and just kind of sit there and just talk. The biggest benefit to me is just kind of having those conversations and the story that goes along with it. Like people don't realize, like, older folks are just willing to talk, and just if you just sit down with them and you're genuinely interested, they'll talk to you all day, anything you want to know, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about the storytelling component of it.
The storytelling component really is so if you're looking in the process of the app, that's the last thing that you do. But it's in the user interface, it's comprised of the instructions, the ingredients, and the story aspect of it. And when you go in, you'll have an ability to upload either a photo or video, and you have a text box that you can also put everything in there. So, I mean, essentially, we just wanted to make sure that everybody knows, if they want to, what was the thought process behind things, or who did they learn it from? I learned, like, I didn't know Aunt Nora didn't live with grandmama that much. So, like, what happened is Grandma Florence moved down to Charleston, but Aunt Nora stayed with her grandma. I mean, so that would be my great grandma. Yeah. So she stayed with her. And she learned a lot of things from Edisto Island. She actually was on the farm the most. Like, my mom and them never experienced those things. So she got a whole nother tool set that everybody else didn't have. Now I know why her okra soup tastes different. You know what I'm saying? She learned it from somebody else. And I mean, it's interesting. Aunt Nora is very adamant about the Gullah Geechee ways in her own sense. She don't cook certain things unless it's fresh ingredients. She ain't gonna cook previously frozen okra. And I mean, that's a lot of the intricacies of the recipes that come from that. Just knowing when things are in season, when you actually making certain things. She's not just making stuff all year round with not so fresh ingredients. So I mean, I love that,
Yeah.
Funny story. When I was down in Charleston back in June, one of our family members was on was it USA Today or something like that?
Oh, word.
It was the 98-year-old from Edisto.
Oh, you talking about Emily Meggett?
Yep, Emily Meggett.
Yep. Yeah, she's the matriarch of the island now. She's actually married into the family. I forget who. I gotta ask Aunt Ned again. She was giving me the breakdown. I forgot who she had married on Granddaddy's side. But yeah, man, she's taken off. She actually has been, like, really generous with just sharing her recipes over the years. She'll feed anybody that comes around. Right. And Chef DJ Dennis gives her mad props. And he's like the aficionado for Charleston right now.
Yeah. That's the head honcho right there for right now. He's like the top dog.
Wow.
Yeah, if you get his stamp, you good. So, and she's got a cookbook out now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I actually want to buy it. I probably want to buy it just to support too, because I'm big on supporting our people, especially when you really our people, and just like the Gullah Geechee people in general. So I'm very interested in just supporting that and going out and buy that book. Yeah. So how can we support Pass the Peaz, and when is the actual app dropping?
Okay, so right now, with it being in the production phase and waiting on it, I estimate it should be probably about 2 more weeks from this conversation right here.
Okay.
And so right now is a crazy time. We're doing 2 things at the same time. We're launching the app, and we are also launching a crowdfunding campaign on August 15th, and that's going to run for 45 days. So 2 ways you can support Pass the Peaz. You can download the app once it drops.
Okay.
Right. And share it with all your family. I mean, that's what I really want to see. I want to see people being like, hey, I got a family plan. We got 2 plans. You got an individual and you got a family plan. You pay for the family plan, you can add 5 additional people, and they have all the premium access. That just means that you can upload unlimited amounts of recipes. Posting video is expensive. You know what I mean? So that's why we had those fees for that. But nonetheless, it's $2.99 and $5.99 per month. And so what we're looking at with the JLH fund, the JLH Social Impact Fund, thanks to their generosity, that's an 8-week program that we were in. That's from Jeru Holiday and Lauren Holiday. Jeru Holiday from the Milwaukee Bucks, so shout out to him. They chose us. They actually popped on the call when we were selected, and they actually handpicked us and watched our videos. So that was really cool. Yeah. So they gave us $10,000 up front, and then what's going to happen is with the 8 weeks, they prepped us for this campaign, and for every dollar that we raise, they match a dollar up to $10,000. So we need people to donate, and if we at least reach that $10,000 goal, we know we're going to at least walk away with $20,000 that we can use in the program way. We want to get the app in front of as many people as possible. So it's going to be mainly marketing dollars, just getting it in front of folks, and then making some of the improvements that we want to see along the way.
Yeah,
man,
that's awesome.
That's a blessing. That is a blessing, man.
It really is. And just to think about like how many families you're going to impact through this app, and like how many people's lives are going to be touched through these recipes that are going to continue to be passed down over time. Like that's amazing. Man, that's amazing.
I'm ready to donate twice to this, man. I'm ready to donate, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, man. That's the mission, man. We want to make sure like nobody ever loses another family recipe. Like that's a major goal for us. And I know it's impossible to stop it completely, but we want to give you the tool that can stop it.
It's just like everything is more than just kind of saving the recipes. Also just kind of rebuilding that continuity with family and just kind of talking again and just learning more different stories about the family. Because a lot of times this generation, to me, it's like they don't care sometimes. And they don't realize how deep their family goes in one place, or just basically what the family had to go through. So this is an opportunity just to kind of rebuild that village that has kind of been separated.
Yeah, and even like just thinking about COVID. I mean, Thanksgiving got shut down at grandma's house over Thanksgiving, like with COVID and the whole pandemic situation. So I mean, this is just another great way that if you can't go see your loved ones because they're older or whatever the case is, that you can still have their recipes. You can still have a piece of them at your home. So that's absolutely amazing. I love that.
Man, that is so awesome.
I like it, man. And I can't wait to hear what y'all think of it once y'all get it in your hands.
Yeah.
Use it with your families.
Yeah.
And one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, when everything goes online, we're sharing it, we're uploading it, and we're, like I said, we're blasting it, sharing people, telling people about the app.
Pass the peas.
Pass the peas, man. Pass the peas.
Baby, like we used to do. And so that's one of the things that I've been doing with the content I started recording. So in 2020, I started recording content. It was important for me to document the journey. And my idea of holding all this content was I want to do a documentary call like we used to. And just talking, a lot of the questions, the interview questions are centered around the importance of food and family. So that's something that I'm going to be consistently working on as well. Because a part of our marketing, I feel like, is it needs to be organic and it needs to tell the story why this came to be and why it's important. But I wanted to kind of go back to what you were saying, with COVID, and I think it kind of like did something good too, even though it kept us away from our family. I think it slowed us down.
Sure.
And it made us think, right? Like, because I had the most time to think about this during COVID. Like when you're distressed, what do? You eat, and you want comfort foods.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't want McDonald's or anything like that. You want that chicken and dumplings. You want some baked turkey wings. You know what I mean? You want them good down home feel, good down home foods. And that's what ended up happening during COVID. People were able to kind of sit back and slow down. And to your point, Rodney, the younger generation, they moving fast. When you're young, that's how you are. Like that's and when you're moving out of scarcity, especially in our culture, like we don't come from, like wealthy beginnings. So when you get out, you're like, man, I need to get out. I need to go get it. And these new kids are just all about what they call the bag, right?
The bag.
And they don't slow down and they don't look at the wealth that they already have. They coming from an abundance of cultural wealth, and they're not appreciating that. And if they take the time and stew over what they already have, that could be wealth for them. Imagine if if we looked at our grandparents and we took their recipes, and now we look at our new knowledge and access of NFTs and the culture around Gullah Geechee recipes. This is what we're going to open up for people in the future. And I'm just giving you a small piece of my roadmap.
Yeah.
I want people to be able to, that's why I built it with social functions, because non-fungible tokens are all about community. If you don't have a community value, just like when Kobe Bryant's card is sold, it's because he has a value to his community, the basketball community, right? So Emily Meggett has a value to the culinary community, right? Imagine if she were to sell a one-of-one of something that's not in that cookbook, and her name is Golden. Probably turn her family into instant millionaires. These are the conversations I want to start happening around food, and these are the conversations I'm going to start having as we improve the application, because these are the functions that I'm going to provide to people. I want our people, because we the backbone of food. So I'm speaking to Black folks, and I'm speaking to anyone of any kind of cultural ethnicity, to the Hispanic culture, to the Indian culture, everybody who got some flavor, and they got all of these things that make this melting pot, the United States. Well, when we see the majority just opening up a Chinese restaurant, and I don't see any Chinese people in it, they're just, they're commoditizing our cultures, and I want us be able to take that back in some form.
Wow.
Yeah.
You definitely kind of see that a lot in Charleston. I'm gonna just leave that there.
Hey, Geechee Boy Mills had to change their name.
You're right. They had to change their name. Look, rightfully so. So let me ask you, as an entrepreneur, just kind of why is it important to actually go out and pursue your dreams?
Man. So the first thing I'm gonna say about entrepreneurship is, it will stay a dream if you don't take any action, right? So it is important to pursue it for that reason alone. Like, it is only a dream if you don't take any action beyond just thinking about it. It's being an entrepreneur is not a thought. It is literally, if you've ever had a job and they give you tasks and they say from 8 to 5, this is what you're responsible for, you have to sit down and figure out, how do I make motion happen within the space that I want to operate in. And so man, I think for me, being an entrepreneur is where my heart has always been.
Right.
And it's not for everybody, because my wife has already said to me multiple times, I ain't want to do this before you. But she's been running her business for 2 years. No, is it 2? Maybe almost 3 years strong now, right? She's got her own practice. I'm very proud of her, and she's got something much larger coming down the pipeline. That's going to be hitting on a national scale. I'm super excited about that. She's going to impact so many women in the mental health space, and she's targeting Black women. But I just say this to say, every day you have to wake up to tell yourself that you are going to make a small dent and bigger goal. Know your bigger goal, but know exactly what you want. Say, hey, I want to make $10 million. So what are the steps to make my first dollar? And then how do I make another one? And just take those small baby steps, but don't think only big, because if you don't identify the small steps in between, then you just won't get anywhere.
Wow.
That's a good question.
Yeah. I was about to ask you, what is a tip for an entrepreneur? But you just kind of wrapped it all in a nice little bow. So I do want to ask, what is another tip for someone who's just kind of looking to get started but don't know how to start? What advice would you give to someone who's just kind of starting out? They have this great idea, but they just don't know how to move it forward.
Don't be afraid to talk to people. The biggest mistake that we make is we think our idea is so precious that they're going to steal it from us. But we have to think that we are who we are, and it won't be what it is if someone else were to take it and try to run with it. that being said, just be open to networking. Find people who who are willing to help you. I spent a time of my life saying, oh man, because I've had some people tell me, oh, I'm not gonna help you in their own nice way, right? They just don't reply back to you or whatever.
Yeah.
And people I even knew, like I'm like, hey man, how you do this? And they're like, oh man, I can't tell you that. I'm like, really? Like information, you can't share that? Okay.
Yeah.
So, just remember, like, because it may seem as that, and the key word now is people are always like, oh, I got haters, or, basically insinuating that people are against them. But if you go into this entrepreneurship game with your fist closed and guarded, you won't get anywhere, because we do need each other. No big company goes anywhere without people working it. So you have to be open to sharing your idea and eventually putting the motion into it, and the people will come. But you can't be close-fisted.
Yeah.
Wow.
I like that.
So
I like that.
I got a quote for you. This is from a culinary hero, Michael Twitty. All I ever wanted was a recipe of who I am and where I come from. Yeah. What does that mean for you?
Man, that recipe just speaks to my heart, man. When the first time I read it, I was like, wow, just wow. Because, we touched on it earlier. Being from Charleston, we didn't really appreciate where we were coming from, right? I know a little bit about where I come from, but I didn't really know about where I came from.
Right.
And funny enough, our families, because they're spending so much time providing for us and trying to make sure we go to school and do okay, they don't really talk to us about how rich their culture is. Honestly, they might not have even had the same appreciation that other people are having for it, because they're in the thick of it. Right. And so, I have a privilege. I'm operating from a place of privilege. My grandmother didn't have time to relish in the fact that she comes from this culture that people are revering. She spent most of her time just trying to raise all of her children. She had a gang of them. so for me, that quote just makes me realize that I'm sitting in privilege, being able to say that, oh man, I want to learn more about this culture. I'm sitting in a privilege to be able to learn about the foods in this way. When she was making this food as survival, I'm trying to learn about what that survival was like from her, taste these notes and understand that this is coming from a different place. I'm enjoying it. This was something that she made to get by. So that's what it makes me sit down and analyze and think about.
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, that quote is just so deep, just breaking it apart. All I ever wanted was a recipe of who I am.
Yeah. I mean, just stop right there.
That speaks to self-discovery, and then and where I came from.
Yeah, we come from a resilient people, man. Like my grandparents, I'm thinking about like the life that they had, and we like, we growing up, we revere our parents. We see no wrong. Everything they did was right, and it's interesting in that way, right? But especially grandparents, because you didn't see them when they were young, right? We might see our parents, but we don't see our grandparents. They on the nicer side of the coin, right?
They're on that nice downswing.
Yeah, they give you the treats when they see you and all of that stuff. But like when you sit down, you really think about some of the things, and then you really look at the historical context of it. My granddad was born like early 1900s. I think it was like 1916. I think he was born in 1916. So put that in context and think about the things that were going on and the access to things that he may or may not have had. Most of his food, he either grew it, caught it, and he made it himself. And so that just puts it into perspective, like for me, like just thinking about those things. So that's why when I think about that quote, I think about the ingredients and what goes into these dishes. And I think about what that looked like for them to get these things, because it wasn't given. Right. So he wasn't going to the grocery store like that.
Like I just kind of thinking, like I was looking at a picture of me and the other side of the family, and my father's great grandmother was holding me, and she was born in 1895. 1895. She died when I was 2 and 88. And just to think, like, she was held by former slaves.
Wow.
Quite possibly. And just thinking like how like life has changed so much from when she was born to when she died, and just kind of wishing that I was able just to kind of hear those stories of just basically, because she did all the okra soups and everything, that they're from the Poly Island side, and just how they grew up and why this food was a necessity to them and how they got access to the food. Man, that quote right there, that's going to stick with me forever.
And that's why what you all are doing with Pass the Peaz is so important. It's not only important from the food aspect, it's another way to tell our stories over time. So that's pretty dope.
What's next for you, man?
What's next? What's next is Pass the Peaz. Yeah, man. I am 100% focused on this. If you talked to me 2-3 years ago, well, actually more like 3-4 years ago, I would have told you, oh man, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. I am laser focused. I have a serious roadmap for what's going to happen with this, and it's going to take my devotion to it. So I don't have the time to entertain little side projects or anything like that. People ask me about this business or that business, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. But I will help you and give you the resources that you need. And that's, but this is it, man. Pass the Peaz is what's next. And the next iterations, I've got several of them drawn up for what we're going to give to people. Because like I said, we want people to be able to eat off of their culture.
Love it.
Love it.
Man, this is so
I
special,
just have so many ideas in my head. I'm like, oh, you know what? We could even do this with.
I was thinking about that. I'm like,
I ain't gonna say it on camera.
I ain't gonna say it on camera. We're gonna do it afterwards.
We're gonna have a discussion though.
Okay.
Man, I want you to right now, before we kind of close out, just plug all your socials where people can find you, and just kind of the website just to get the app download.
Yeah.
When it comes down.
Okay. So our landing page website is passthepeaz.app, and Pass the Peaz is spelled with a Z. So it's PASSTHEPEAZ.app. Oh, I got y'all got that flash on the screen. Okay, I didn't even have to say it.
Oh, you
appreciate it. Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
And then also on Instagram, it's Pass the Peaz app. That's it. And I would call out Twitter, but I don't tweet. I just got the handle.
I don't either.
When we start getting active on Twitter, I'm gonna tell people about it, but we're not on there, so I'm not gonna even direct anyone there.
That's a hint, right?
That's a big hint.
Awesome. And so for crowdfunding, like, do people just go to Facebook, or where do people go?
You will be able to find us on. We're going to be sharing this information on Facebook, and you will also have the link available in our Instagram. There'll also be a page dedicated to reaching it on our website as well as soon as we go live. So we're preparing that for the launch this coming week. There's going to be a direct page that's associated with Fund Black Founders, and so the campaign will live in there. Fund Black Founders is just almost like I would say Indiegogo, Kickstarter, or any other kind of crowdfunding site, but it's just for Black folks, really, right? Like it's called Fund Black Founders. So the founder of that is awesome. She figured that she determined that there was a need for Black founders to be able to have access to capital, especially being at less than 1% of funding dollars from VCs are given to Black folks. So
love it. And we will be sharing the information on our pages and on our social media sites. So we are super excited about Pass the Peaz. I can't wait to download it. Roddy, what about you?
Man, look, I already got the $5 in my pocket.
Right.
You pay my mama $5,
right.
my brother $5.
We're gonna get the family plan.
We're gonna get the family plan. We can have everybody.
That's the family plan. So once you pay that, once you add the family plan, you can just put them in there and send your request to them for them just to download it. And once they download it, they got the access already.
Look, we got to send it to the family members who know how to cook. We got to be strategic.
So just my mama,
right?
Your grandma, my grandma, and that's about it.
I'm not following you up today, sir.
Yeah.
So, Rodney, where can the people find us?
You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't tweet really, but TikTok once we get the interns in 2023. I'm claiming it at Cohort 1986 on all platforms.
Yeah.
You can check out our website at www.cohort1986.com.
Yeah.
All the links there. And then also on Apple Pods, Spotify. You can check us on at Cohort 1986 there.
And I want to give you an opportunity, Carl, to just kind of close us out. So what words of wisdom would you like to leave our Cohort 1986 family with?
I would say, everybody, I just encourage you all to slow down, take some time, get in the kitchen with your family, and learn a little bit more about them. Like it's very important that we make those times in our lives just to kind of reflect and fellowship with each other. So, we always like to get together when there's a funeral. And so that's what, what this app is about. It's about fellowshipping.
Nice. Love it.
Perfect benediction, man. Everybody, peace out.
Pass the peace.
Pass the peace like we used to.
Bye, y'all.